My name is Bogdan Gajewski. My aviation background spanned for over 40 years, with the last 25 years as a Continuing Airworthness Senior Engineer for the Government of Canada. On 10th April 2010, a Polish 104M aircraft of the Polish Air Force crashed near the city of Smolensk, Russia, killing all 96 people on board. This included President of Poland, Lech Kaczynski, and his wife Maria, former President Richard Kaczorowski, the Chief of General Staff, and other senior Polish military officers. There were 88 passengers and crew of 8. This is the accident aircraft. The tragic flight originated in Warsaw, Poland, ending at Smolensk, Russia. The accident site at Smolensk. An investigation into this accident resulted in 2 official reports: the Russian report known as the MAC report and the Polish report known as a Miller report. Both reports classify this accident as a controlled flight into terrain, which means an accident in which an airworthy aircraft under pilot control is unintentionally flown into terrain, often referred as a pilot's error. The main principle of any crash investigation is: if a significant discrepancy is found in a report, the whole report should be rejected. This presentation shows some basic discrepancies found in these reports which doubt the professionalism and trustworthiness of the official investigation. Only basic items are presented to give an overall impression of the quality of these reports. The following information was evaluated: crash site inventory, cabin arrangement, time of the accident, black box readouts, investigation procedure. Crash site inventory. The crash site. Please note the fragments of passenger seats. The inventory of the crash site is fundamental for any crash investigation. Securing the crash site is paramount for further investigation. However, the crash site was not secured. Locals were allowed on the site, compromising vital evidence. The unsecured crash site at Smolensk, picture number 1. The unsecured crash at Smolensk, picture number 2. The unsecured crash site at Smolensk, picture number 3. The satellite pictures show that the Smolensk crash site has been altered. The left horizontal stabilizer has been moved closer to the main wreckage. The following problems were noted. The crash site was not secured. Locals were allowed on the site, compromising vital evidence. The location of the aircraft parts was altered, as shown on satellite pictures. The point of impact of the aircraft with the ground has not been determined. There were 2 Model Tu-104 aircraft, tail numbers 101 and 102, servicing Polish VIP government officials. As stated in both reports, aircraft Model Tu-154, number 101, had crashed in Smolensk. This is an example of airworthiness certificate which is required for all aircraft to be on board during flight. The Russian report states that there were 2 airworthiness certificates found at the accident site, an invalid one for aircraft 101 and a valid one for aircraft 102. Aircraft 101 was recently overhauled, and aircraft 102 was in the process of being overhauled. This is the snapshot of related paragraph from the Russian report. Conclusion. Both certificates should have been kept at the maintenance facility. Their presence at the accident site suggests that these certificates were purposely placed, compromising the evidence. The investigation team was not able to explain why these documents were found at the accident site. Cabin arrangement. According to both reports, a Tupolev 154M, tail number 101, with 88 passengers on board, had crashed. However, there is a major discrepancy regarding the number of passenger seats in this aircraft. The Polish report states that 4 days before the accident, the aircraft was reconfigured to increase cabin capacity to 100 passenger seats, while the Russian report indicates only 90 passenger seats on this aircraft. This is the snapshot of related paragraph from the Russian report. The Polish report indicates 12 empty seats in accident aircraft, while Russian report only 2. This discrepancy was not explained. The Russian report lacks basic inventory data like the number of passenger seats found at the crash site. Despite this, the report claims that all the passenger seats were accounted for, with details that some of them were not buckled up before the crash. This statement does not address the existence of 12 empty seats listed in the Polish report. This is the snapshot of related paragraph from the Russian report. The Russian report states that almost all high-ranked officials, 2 delegation members, and the cabin attendant were located in the forward part of passenger cabin based on crash inventory. However, the same report states the boarding was conducted using boarding passes without specified seat numbers. Therefore, there is a question. How were the Russians able to determine the location of 2 delegation members and a cabin attendant despite the lack of assigned seat numbers? This is the snapshot of related paragraph from the Russian report. The accident site. Again, please note the fragments and fragments only of passenger seats. Conclusion. The aircraft seat configuration as well as the state of the safety belts before landing are a mystery. The time of the accident. As per BBC News, the plane crashed at 10:56 Moscow time. The Euronews stated 1 week after accident that the time of the crash was the same, that is 10:56 local time. It turns out that the official time of the accident as 10:56 Moscow time was circulating around the world for 2 weeks. The time of accident is usually determined from the readouts of flight data recorder and taped records from the control tower. The typical control tower as perceived by travelers. And this is the Russian control tower at Smolensk. 2 weeks after the accident, the official time has been changed to 10:41, which is 15 minutes earlier than the 10:56 reported for 2 weeks. This time difference has not been explained. Conclusion. For 2 weeks, the wrong time of the accident was widely publicized despite the earlier, presumably correct, readouts from the black boxes. Cockpit voice recording, black box readouts. As it was found later, there were 7 copies of the cockpit recording, each with different time lengths. Also, there were 4 different versions of the last minutes of the recording. All these recordings were certified working copies of the aircraft cockpit voice recorder. Conclusions. There is no explanation of the different lengths of the recordings, and there is no possibility to verify the original recording because the black boxes are still being held by Russians. Investigation procedure. The crucial point is to determine from the crash site inventory if any of the aircraft parts were found along the flight path before the point of initial contact with the ground. If some aircraft parts were found before the point of contact, there is a possibility that the aircraft was having technical problems and the pilot could have had difficulty in controlling the flight. It has been documented that many aircraft parts, including part of the wing and horizontal stabilizer, were found well before the initial point of contact with the ground. Additionally, a serious electrical problem during flight was reported on page 107 of the Russian report. The flight management system power was lost at 10:41:05, an altitude of 15 meters with airspeed about 270 kilometers an hour. These findings suggest that the accident aircraft had some serious technical problems during flight and the pilot may have lost control of the aircraft. This is an example as aircraft part was found well before the crash site. If in fact the pilot had lost control of the aircraft due to aircraft disintegration during the flight, the investigating team should explore the scenario of uncontrolled flight into terrain, where the pilot was not able to execute a normal landing. In such a case, the original claim of pilot's error is unfounded. Conclusion. Based on the crash site inventory results, the investigating team failed to explore the scenario of uncontrolled flight into terrain. Both accident reports fell short of the proper in-depth investigation. There were some basic discrepancies found in both official reports which cast doubt on the professionalism and trustworthiness of the official investigation. Thank you for your attention.